I think it's time to have a look at the S League. Yeah, let's go to Singapore. When you think Singapore, especially the Football League, you're probably not going to think too much unless you're well read on it, but you will know about Steve Kean. He is alive, the ex-Blackburn Rovers manager.
Who actually isn't living in Singapore.
No.
In Brunei.
Yeah, he's in Brunei, so yeah, obviously that's
not international league.
Good geography there. But how's he getting on? How's Kean getting on?
He seems happy enough.
From quite cheerful, isn't it?
He nearly delivered the title. By the looks of it, I think they lost out on the final day.
Yes, yeah, it was super tight, and I think it was kind of theirs to lose. They've been pretty much on top for the last few months, but yeah, lost it on the last day of the season. Won a cup earlier in the season too, but it's quite a different feel to managing at Blackburn. So every 2 weeks he has to go and meet the Crown Prince of Brunei.
Which is
have a little chat about formations.
It's a very brave move in a lot of ways. I imagine money might have been something to do with it, but it is a very interesting experiment. And I think he tried to get Francis Jeffers over there when he first arrived.
Oh, wow. The dream ticket.
From reported sources, Jeffers didn't stay much longer than it took him to realise he couldn't get hold of beer. And that was him gone. I've heard that on good authority.
Do we need to place an allegedly?
It's allegedly and reportedly, but
okay, that's
but I think he will have difficulty attracting some European players to Brunei. But he seems like he's done the job. Whether second place is good enough for the Sultan Prince,
who used to play in goal for Brunei as well.
Really?
Yeah, used to do a job between the posts.
He was managing the team in the S League, but also the national team as well, right? He's doing.
No,
both,
I didn't know. Nathan coming from nowhere.
I might be wrong. It might be another one for Twitter, but I think he's managing both Brunei DPMM. I'm not sure the acronym, but also then the national team on top of that.
Yeah. Well, we shouldn't. Good little fact. I wasn't aware of that one. But we shouldn't scoff too much at Kean. He certainly seems relatively genuine when he says that this isn't just a payday for 1 year and potentially could be here for five or 10 years. It'd be interesting if he does stay, because the S League's about to get pretty interesting. Let me look at my clipboard here. They're really mixing it up next season, making some quite significant changes. I think arguably to make it a lot more competitive. So currently it's 12 teams, but they're knocking it down to 2. 2? Wow.
I was going to say, wow.
Crumbs. That would be competitive, wouldn't it? A bit dull after a while. A bit like sort of Marathi style. No, they're knocking it down to 10. And that'll including the merger of 2 teams and 1 team sitting it out for a while. But yeah, as I say, they're trying to make it slightly more competitive. But there are more controversial changes than that they're making. So you're only allowed, I've just got it right down here, age restrictions. So you can only buy 5 players over 30. Okay. So
focus on youth development.
Like yeah, and you must have at least 3 players under 25.
You must have 3 under 25. Yeah.
Which is kind of good. It's good for keeping teams youthful.
I would think it would be. I mean, did they specify how many on the roster in total? You would think it'd be more than 3.
Yeah, you sort of hope you'd already have that many players under 25.
I think it applies to purchases. From anything that they buy, anyone that they buy from here on in. So it's kind of. I can't work out whether it's quite. I don't know. Forward thinking, or whether it's a little bit heavy-handed. But the best change of all is that there's a fitness test for every player. So, they've got it written down here. All players must complete a run. I think it's about 12, something like 12 kilometres in 9 minutes 45. Originally, it was 10 minutes.
A 12-kilometre run?
I think that's right.
Just a straight 12-kilometre run?
Yeah, I like to think of it as just sort of cross-country. Just in
9 minutes?
You're right, sure.
There's no way.
I think that's supposed to be possible.
Well, it's definitely. I'm not sure on the exact distance, but the point, you're missing the point here, Alex.
Basically, you've got to.
There's a fitness run.
It's definitely it's a good innovation. I mean, as well, just that part of the world in terms of the space, the footprint the league occupies is very small. So I can't imagine with league restrictions that the player pool and the money involved enables them to recruit from that far and wide. So, if you're going to be trying to bring up local youth or just even local players if they're not young, fitness tests and restriction,
it rules out a lot of players, I've got to admit.
Well, yeah,
Marcus Stewart would never have got in.
yeah. We would like to look at the rosters of Premier League teams, just see who would be left. Big Razor Ruddock. In the 90s.
I'm not jumping in on this one because I think there's some controversial players he could come up with.
No, I'd be very curious.
Yeah.
Very curious indeed. But interestingly, that this has mainly been a reaction to the fact that there's going to be an Asian Super League, another Super League in early 2006,
They're the best leagues.
2016.
They're the best
How many?
leagues.
Are there too many Super Leagues?
What's
at the
better
moment?
than a Super League?
An Ultra
Hyper
League.
An Ultra League.
Mega league.
I like that.
Mega League.
So it sounds a bit like an Asian sort of Asian Champions League, but essentially in a league
Actual league
format. Yeah.
Well, this is almost a similar point I was touching on before when we got cut off. The fact that Indian development is hindered by people watching so much of European football, they don't pay as much attention to the domestic game. Having a European Super League of Premier League and Liga might just take away the pressure for lower leagues in those countries to flourish on their own, almost like the Premier League breaking away from Division 1, 2, 3. It might allow this lower league football to flourish. And maybe the case with India or Asia, if they combine those leagues, it gives them a base under which for local football to build, aside from the quite restrictive nature of top leagues at the moment. So it's definitely an interesting concept. It's one that I think Europe's been flirting with for a while.
Good shout. More Super Leagues to come.
Yeah.
Be there early 2016.